Well, sense of humor is kicking in. Welcome back, because here on a Tuesday, we're going to go from garbage to fungus. With us is Mark Bradley from Brantford Podiatry. Thanks for the time again today.
Nice to be back again.
You're hearing all this noise about laser fungal treatments. And I guess the first question I'm going to ask you, is it natural to have a little dirt under your toenails, and does the dirt create fungus?
Well, not so much dirt. I mean, we have little particles of skin and stuff like that trapped onto there. What typically happens with fungal infections, they don't infect normal nails. The nail usually gets damaged, usually by some sort of a micro trauma, whether it's the shoes or you kicked your toe against something, or the way you're functioning, the way you're walking, causing pressure in the nail. Once the nail plate gets damaged, then it allows itself open to fungal infections, bacterial infections, that kind of thing.
One of the things I find interesting is my father is a retired military vet, and one of the things he gets from his vet benefits is he gets regular foot treatment. Somebody comes in and takes care of his toenails and things like that. Are we dealing with something that can become a problem, say, in seniors?
No, not particularly in seniors, but you know, it's very commonly overdiagnosed. You know, a lot of our family physicians don't spend a lot of time looking at feet. Lucky for them. And you know, any kind of nail that's a little bit thickened or a little bit discolored, it's a fungus. When in fact, you know, when the nail's damaged, it thickens a little bit and it loses that nice pink translucency. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little bit thickened. It's trying to protect you.
You bring up an interesting point, because I always refer back to things I've gone through. Poor fitting shoes going back a couple of years, and I had the second toes of both feet kind of get the nail kind of pulled up from running, exercising, do whatever I'm doing. And now I find that the skin is different, the nail is different. And is this what you're talking about in terms of
that goes back to your mechanics, and the same thing that caused your heel pain is causing that.
Okay, so I'm walking bad everywhere.
Yeah. Well, anyway, back to the laser fungal treatment. I mean, it's the latest in a host of you know, proposed treatments. You know, previously there were topical agents which actually work fairly well. You've just got to be fairly conscientious about treating them that way. You got to have your podiatrist or chiropodist debride the nail down to let the chemical get in there to work. Then there was oral medications, which unfortunately have some nasty side effects potentially. But the laser fungal treatment, it's in the national newspapers. We have patients coming in with clippings, and apparently it works. Unfortunately, all the research to date at the moment comes from the companies manufacturing the laser units or from practitioners who are already using it and obviously have a vested interest. So unfortunately, we don't have good research that we can refer to and say, yeah, that really works. So it's a little bit misleading at the moment. The other thing is, you mentioned earlier, the cost of these units is like the cost of a luxury saloon. It's like $70,000 for these. And as a lot of the adverts say, the only thing you have to lose is money. They have been approved. They're not dangerous. There's no harmful side effects, but we really don't know how effective they are.
And one of the reasons why we get you in here and talking about these things is because I guess the best thing is prevention.
Absolutely. And as I said, there's usually trauma that was the original cause. And it may be something as daft as a one-off injury, or it may be just something habitually, the way your foot functions, your choice of footwear, an activity. Like runners typically will get damaged nails, and I'll guarantee they'll get a fungal infection if the nail's damaged. It just happens. Fungal spores are everywhere, unfortunately. It's not a reflection on our personal hygiene.
Moisture a breeding ground?
A moist, dark, damp atmosphere, yeah, it's perfect. Sounds lovely.
Yeah, so that sounds like our sneakers. Now, you see hockey players all the time, the shower shoes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a smart idea. Not so much for fungal spores, but, you know, the viral particles that cause plantar warts, definitely a very good idea in that environment. That moist, damp environment allows them to survive. On a dry surface, plantar wart, the actual viral particles dehydrate and die quite quickly.
Now, I guess there's some people who can wear cheap shoes and some people who can't. So in the wonderful world of prevention, you're going to be staying with us. I want to talk more exactly about what we should be doing and with footwear and those kind of things. Mark Bradley's with us from Brantford Podiatry. He's a fun guy, and that's what we're talking about. Fungus, right here as we return on a Tuesday. Thanks for joining us inside Brant. Mark Bradley is back with us, Brantford Podiatry. We're talking about, I want to say, Mark, you know, when we were in break, I don't think, and it sounds stupid, I don't think a podiatrist is dealing with toes. I figure you got it from the heel until the toes. I figured your area is the foot, but toes are part of the foot, I'm guessing.
And not only that, but, you know, the feet are at the end of the leg. So we get influenced by everything, and one of the things hopefully we'll talk about in another session is systemic conditions like diabetes. Anytime you have something wrong with your general system, the further you get away from the central core, the more demonstrative the effects of that disease become. And that's why as podiatrists or chiropodists, we spend an awful lot of time dealing with peripheral vascular disease, diabetes, stuff like that.
And I'm guessing, Mark, that I don't want to say lessons, but do you end up giving out lessons to some people in foot and toe care, even in, say, the trimming of toenails?
With every treatment we do, it's as much education as it is physical care, physical treatment, or writing a prescription. You know, we're just educating all the time. And it's easier for me because I taught for a living for 10 years at Toronto General. So it comes a wee bit more naturally.
So I'm guessing that as we get into this, okay, if I trim a nail improperly, suddenly my mechanics are going to be off a little bit because I'm not going to want to put pressure on that toe. As funny as it sounds, I could be walking on 4 toes, and then I'm looking at probably more damage to other parts of the foot.
And then it leads into, or we published a new website recently called purefunction.ca. And the introduction states just that. When there's dysfunction, you'll cause pain as a result of that. And when there's pain, if you have trimmed your nail wrongly, it'll cause you to alter your gait, and that will cause problems. It's like going for a walk on a slippery day and we shorten our stride. Next thing you come in, you're going, oh my God, my back's killing me, because you just changed the way you walk.
And as we talk about this, I don't want to get away from the topic because I'm sure people are going to be wondering, how do I know? As we started
was
this
the topic?
How do I know the difference between, as we used to lovingly refer to, a little bit of toe jam going on there? What's the difference between that? How do I know if it's a fungus? Is pain going to be associated with it necessarily?
Not necessarily at all. In fact, in a lot of cases, patients will come in, we'll diagnose them as having a fungal infection in their nail. And my next question was, do you want to treat it? Because it really, in a lot of the adverts, you'll see this hanging question, you know, if you don't treat that fungal infection, it'll cause other things. So they never actually allude to what these other things are.
You mentioned the laser. Has that become more cosmetic than a healthcare thing?
Well, again, you know, we love technology. And the advantage of the laser is it's delivered in a one-shot treatment. You know, you go in, you have your laser treatment, you part with a fairly substantial amount of money for that treatment, and you typically don't really have to do anything else. The manufacturers, in their information to the practitioners, suggest that we recommend you use a topical agent as well in parallel with it, which sounds a bit, it sounds a little subject. The beauty of that, unlike treating with a topical agent, you're applying it every single day, and it's a little labor intensive, so yeah, it's got an appeal to modern man for sure.
And let's ring the alarm bell. If I have some discoloration, if I haven't trimmed a nail badly, if I'm finding some kind of toe pain or toe discomfort, see somebody.
Yeah, if it's a little discoloration, yellowishness is probably more the nail thickening to protect itself, and you want to know why it's doing that. But if it's crumbly and brown and flaking, and yes, if there's an odor from it, in all likelihood there's a bit of a fungal infection there.
Okay, and the medical treatments for this, we've gotten into the cosmetic ones, the medical treatments, and they seem to be a few of them, they are effective?
Well, and the laser treatment is effective, but there are other options, but the first thing is to confirm that it is actually a fungal infection.
Okay, and the only way to do that is talk to somebody who knows.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, seek a podiatrist or chiropodist that's close to you, and they should be able to diagnose it straight away. You shouldn't even really need to take a fungal sample and send it off. They're not that conclusive, and a visual analysis should be good enough.
Mark Bradley, Brantford Podiatry, thanks, and thanks for setting up the next visit.
As always, a pleasure.